Did Tyler Perry just put himself at risk of losing his self-made billion-dollar empire? Is there another Diddy-style crazy trial on the horizon? Let's talk about it. Okay, in case you missed it this week, Tyler Perry has been getting dragged and exposed all through the YouTube and internet streets. It's gone viral. He is at risk of losing his billion-dollar empire over a handsome actor by the name of Derek Dixon. If you don't know who Tyler Perry is, his real name is Emmett Perry Jr. He's an American actor / filmmaker. He was famous for his plays initially, and then he became like a famous producer, making like hundreds of movies. He eventually purchased his own studio in Atlanta that was formerly a military base, so it's bigger than Sony Studios. And this is a self-made man that once slept in a one-room apartment. He was homeless. He said his stove where he cooked was next to his bed. That's how small his apartment was. He came from very humble beginnings. And now he's at risk of losing that over his personal life. Tyler Perry is being sued for $260 million over SA claims. He's denied these claims, but last week a lawsuit was filed against him on Friday the 13th by Derek Dixon. Derek was an actor who played the character Dale on The Oval, which was a show that Tyler Perry created. And Derek is alleging some scandalous stuff from Tyler Perry, like workplace harassment, if you get my drift. Now, we're going to take it back to last year. Last year around this time, the internet was set ablaze by Christian Keys. And let's look up Christian Keys. He is very handsome, and he's an actor / producer that's worked with Tyler Perry in the past. Now, yes, here we go. Christian. Last year, Christian alluded to a billionaire harassing him in exchange for work and scripts, and basically wanting him to be on like a casting couch. So Christian got a ink pen and put it in his pocket like a recording device and recorded the billionaire. And he would put his phone away to get the billionaire's trust, to think like, oh, hey, I'm going to turn my phone off and we're alone. But he had the recording device in his pocket the whole time. So juicy. Let's listen to Christian explain in his own words a little of the experience with the mystery billionaire.
This, I will promise you this. As an executive on the show, I'm grateful for this person for showing me how not to be. When you're the boss, how not to be. You don't sexually harass your employees. You don't pressure them, bully them, try to intimidate them into what you want. I am grateful for that lesson. I'm glad that God sat back, because not only was he watching to see if I was the person that he thought he had made, but he was letting me see who I am. And I'm grateful for it, because it let me know, and that gave me a lot of my bravery.
Can you see the pain in his eyes and hear it in his voice as he's the anger as he's explaining? Now, he never named Tyler Perry, but he alluded to the fact that he was talking about someone he worked for and with And at the time, he was most known for working with Tyler Perry. Now, I don't know if this was some sort of dog whistle or warning, because this was the final message that we heard from Christian on this topic, and he has been quiet ever since. It's been alluded to in the past few days that he was paid off over $100 million to keep quiet. But the internet, however, is undefeated. The internet went ablaze down a rabbit hole, remembering exactly what Christian said when this lawsuit came out. Let's look at some of these tweets. Someone said, Christian Key's story is similar to Derek Dixon. Christian Keys never said a name, but the scenarios are very similar. One user says, this just reminded me of the Christian Keys video where he refused to name the quote-unquote billionaire who SA'd him. And another user said, y'all remember the Christian Keys thing when he talked about how a mega producer was a nasty creep to him, and we all knew he was talking about Tyler, but then he went quiet all of a sudden? I def thought he was given a payout because he was ready to talk, but then it just gone. Now let's get into this open letter to Tyler Perry that was posted via Baller Alert, BALLERALERT, and it reads, to Tyler Perry. This letter comes from a place of love and long-standing admiration. From your early plays to dominating Hollywood with your own studio, you've shown us what's possible when vision meets resilience. We've watched you write, direct, and produce your way into history, making a symbol of success in the Black community. You're not just an entertainer, you're an inspiration. And because of that, we feel connected to you. So, when recent allegations made headlines, while some were stunned, others weren't shocked at all. Not because of any wrongdoing. Those legal matters will have their day in court. But because the speculation around your personal identity has lingered for years. The truth is, many of us saw what you've never confirmed. And through it all, our love for you hasn't changed. If anything, it's deepened. We remember you opening up to Oprah about the pain of childhood trauma, about the confusion and hurt from abuse. That was raw. A raw, vulnerable moment that made us feel even closer to you. You've always urged us to live in our truth through the characters you bring to life. Now, maybe it's your turn to do the same. Allegations aside, your legacy is already cemented, but there's another kind of freedom waiting when you stop hiding pieces of who you are. Whatever truth you've been wrestling with, no, it won't push us away. If anything, it'll bring us closer, just like you've done for years. Lifted us up with your stories. Now, let us lift you with our acceptance. We aren't going anywhere. The Post. Now again, that was an open letter to Tyler Perry, and it has been viral today. Posted everywhere. Everyone has been talking about it. What do you think? Is that overstepping? Kind of verifying his preferences without him verifying it? I personally think it's a bit much or a bit overstepping. If they wanted to reach out to Tyler Perry, they could have maybe figured out a better way. I'm not sure, but I just don't think it was their place to publicly just say that. People should have the right to share their own private lives or not. So I just think it was a little bit much, but let's get into the lawsuit allegations from Derek Dixon. Oh, wait. I don't know if it's a busy news week for Tyler Perry or if this is like a cover up, but suddenly Tyler Perry has a 10-year-old son and a wife. I have never heard of him being married before or having a long-time girlfriend, but now news has come out that him and a longtime girlfriend has a 10-year-old. It doesn't say if it's a biological child. However, news is reporting that Tyler Perry has a child. What are your thoughts about that? Have you ever heard about Tyler Perry in a long-standing relationship with anyone, let alone a woman that produced a child? Leave a comment below. Meanwhile, remember I said it's been a busy news week for Tyler Perry. According to MSNBC, the 48-page complaint that was filed last week on Friday the 13th in Los Angeles County Superior Court states, quote, Mr. Perry's success has led him to believe that money and influence can get him whatever he wants. Adding, Mr. Perry sought the one thing his wealth and influence could not purchase, a relationship with a man who would remain silent. In a statement, a lawyer for Perry accused the plaintiff, Derek Dixon, of trying to get close to Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than a setting up type of scam. But Tyler will not be shook down. He will not be shaken. And we are confident these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. According to the lawsuit, Tyler Perry offered Dixon, who worked at the time for an events company, his first acting role in 2019. A few months later, he invited Dixon to his home in Georgia and served him several drinks before telling the aspiring actor to stay in his guest room, according to the lawsuit. Tyler Perry suddenly appeared in Dixon's bed and began groping him, according to the suit. Dixon kept informing Perry that he was not into that in order to keep Perry at bay, while at the same time not insulting the person who was dangling his career in front of him, states the suit. Perry continued to text Dixon about his personal life, according to the suit, which says that the more the actor ignored Tyler Perry, the more aggressive he became. Dixon quit his job and took a role on Perry's show, The Oval. Perry would ask the actor about his personal preferences, go on explicit rants, and call and text him almost daily, treating him as an on-call pet, quote unquote. Dixon's character in The Oval was scripted to be shot at the end of the season, but according to the suit, Perry indicated that he may survive the shooting and appear in future seasons if Dixon did a quote unquote good job. Dixon immediately understood his job security depended on his relationship with Tyler Perry, according to the lawsuit, which adds that Tyler Perry warned Dixon not to discuss any of their conversation with any castmates or tell them about their friendship at all. The lawsuit accuses Tyler Perry of groping Dixon twice in 2020, including during a cast trip to the Bahamas in 2021 while at Tyler Perry's house. The filmmaker allegedly pulled down Dixon's underwear and began to vigorously grab, grope, and play with Dixon's buttocks in a aggressive manner. Dixon was naked, stunned, and seized by tremendous fear, the lawsuit claims. After the alleged assault, the suit says that one of Tyler Perry's lawyers told Dixon that Christmas came early because he'd done a good job on the Oval. He was given a raise for the following season, according to the lawsuit. And Perry wanted to buy the rights to shoot a pilot for a script Dixon had written called Losing It. While Perry purchased the rights to the script and filmed it, the lawsuit said he had no intention of ever producing Losing It. Perry never made any effort to sell the show or shop it. Perry was only using the show as a quid pro quo to Dixon, holding its production over Dixon's head like the sword of Damocles. The show was not developed, according to the lawsuit, and Perry later offered Dixon a position as a writer on one of his shows. Dixon turned Perry down and filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The status of that complaint was not immediately clear. Oh, wow. So, could Dixon be upset about his show? Could this be revenge? I think this is what they call rich people problems. Or is it a clear case of workplace harassment, intimidation, dangling potentially $1 million career in front of someone's face and taking it if they don't do what you want them to do or perform as such? So it's pretty interesting, but leave your comments below. This is Hollywood. We have heard for years people doing things to make it in this industry. So it's pretty interesting to see how this will develop. Let's get into the court documents. And let me just add that we've also heard for years that this industry is very predatory as well. So we won't take that away from any of the billionaires because people are trying to make it in this industry. Now, depending on what type of luck you consider, this document was filed on Friday the 13th. I've censored out the information about the attorneys because we're not trying to dox anyone. We just want to get down to the details of the complaint. And this was e-filed in the Superior Court of Los Angeles by the attorney for Derek Dixon, which is Jonathan Delshad. Sidebar, my apologies if I mispronounce any names. Shout out to my subscriber who corrected me on my last video. You know who you are? So, this was filed, and look at all of the complaints. There's 10. Let's go through them. In the case of Derek Dixon, an individual plaintiff, versus Tyler Perry, an individual, TPS Production Services LLC, basically a $1 billion corporation. The complaint lists 10 complaints. 1. Quid pro S harassment. 2. Work environment harassment. 3. S harassment in general. 4. Workplace gender violence. 5. Violation of Bain Act. 6. S battery, period. 7. S assault, period. 8. Negligent retention. 9. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. 10. Retaliation. FEHA, if you know what that means, let us know below. But there are 10 complaints, and Derek and his attorneys are demanding for a jury trial. What do you guys think? Now, the summary of action. 1. Plaintiff Derek Dixon files his complaint against Tyler Perry, aka Emmett Perry Jr., quote unquote Perry, and he's alleging the following complaint is pled on information and belief. This case arises from a sustained pattern of workplace S harassment, assault, and retaliation perpetrated by Tyler Perry, a powerful media mogul, against plaintiff Derek Dixon, a professional actor and screenwriter. Mr. Perry is an American actor, filmmaker, and playwright who has built one of the most successful careers in the film and television industry. Mr. Perry took his success and power and used his considerable influence in the entertainment industry to create and coerce exploitative dynamic with, all right, you guys work with me, you know these words are YouTube sensitive, to create a coercive, exploitative dynamic with Mr. Dixon, initially promising him a career advancement and creative opportunities, such as producing his pilot and casting him in his show, only to subject him to escalating S harassment, assault, and battery, and professional retaliation when Mr. Dixon did not reciprocate Mr. Perry's unwanted advances. These events occurred while Mr. Dixon was employed as a series regular on the Tyler Perry show, The Oval, and while Mr. Perry held direct control over his employment, compensation, and creative opportunities. Tyler Perry rose against all odds to become one of the most powerful figures in the entertainment industry. His success story, once a symbol of perseverance and self-made achievement, has now become a cautionary tale of how unchecked power, wealth, and influence can corrupt those who attain it. Among other contracts, Perry received a lucrative multi-year partnership with the Oprah Winfrey Network, and his network tops $1.36 billion. Tyler Perry's rise to fame and fortune elevated him from a powerless victim to a figure of tremendous wealth, influence, and power, culminating in the ownership of his own film studio. Rather than using his influence responsibly, Tyler Perry has engaged in a pattern of misconduct where he exploited his position of power. Tyler Perry has been using his power and influence to, we'll just say, take extreme advantage of impressionable and vulnerable employees and actors who took to him for guidance and mentorship while pursuing their dreams. Just like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Sean P. Diddy Combs, Kevin Spacey, Roger Ailes, and many others in the industry, Mr. Perry's success has led him to believe that money and influence can get him whatever he wants. That belief slowly transformed into the false idea that Mr. Perry can get whoever he wants. There are things in life that money cannot buy. Mr. Perry sought the one thing his wealth and influence could not purchase: a relationship with a man who would remain silent. Perry told Mr. Dixon that his ideal relationship would involve a male partner who he could provide for and who would be loyal but emotionally detached. Perry told Dixon, quote, "Whoever ends up with me is going to be a happy MFer." In essence, Mr. Perry desired a one-sided, coercive dynamic with a subordinate and an arrangement devoid of mutual consent or emotional reciprocity. Thus began Perry's calculated pursuit of Mr. Dixon. This was not Mr. Perry's first instance of exploitation. He has demonstrated a troubling pattern of exploiting vulnerable male actors and employees, leaving his industry power to create a cycle of hope and dependency. First, he offers aspiring actors the prospect of career-defining opportunities, roles that promise visibility and achievement. Then, once they are on his professional orbit, He uses the weight of his influence to ensnare them, positioning their success as contingent on meeting with his demands in a quid pro quo compromise. This pattern of behavior reveals a calculated use of professional power of leverage for Perry. Sidebar, I am editing out the words that aren't appropriate so you can read between the lines. But this is deep. What do you guys think? Using his influence, Mr. Perry provided vulnerable men with acting positions, roles, show contracts, cars, and money. Once the object of his desire was hooked, Tyler Perry would then put them in fear of losing it all unless they engaged in Mr. Perry's perverted desire for gratification. Mr. Perry would easily kill off, quote unquote, a character in a show of an actor who failed to indulge in Perry's fantasies. Sidebar, are you a Tyler Perry fan? Have you noticed any of your favorite characters being eliminated? At all relevant times, the negligent failure of defendants to protect plaintiff and to supervise, prohibit, control, regulate, discipline, and or otherwise penalize adequately the conduct and omissions of defendants' employees violated plaintiff's rights under state statutes and common law, and was a substantial factor in causing plaintiffs harm as alleged herein. And finally, a prayer for relief. Plaintiff prays for judgment as follows. 1. For special, general, punitive, and compensatory damages according to proof at trial. For reasonable attorney's fees, expert witness fees, and other litigation expenses pursuant to law. For injunctive relief where the court deems appropriate. For all other relief the court deems appropriate and just. For a total amount of damage, including punitive damages of $260 million. Respectfully submitted, June 13th, Friday, 2025. Okay, you guys, this lawsuit includes alleged text messages between Tyler Perry and Derek Dixon. Remember, Tyler has not been convicted, only accused, so listen with discernment. In one such exchange, the lawsuit goes on to read, Perry stated that he could, quote, fix things because the actors of a show he was filming should all be scared because they were all shot at. They were all shot and, quote, we don't know who lives, meaning that Tyler Perry was going to use this as a tool to gain compliance with his desires. Derek Dixon was Mr. Perry's desire ever since they had become acquainted. Dixon was working as part of an event staff for a party hosted by Mr. Perry. When Perry noticed him, Perry immediately offered Dixon the chance of an audition to a part in one of his TV productions. Shortly after, Perry confided in Dixon that 2 cast members were, quote, pissing him off, and that Perry swore that he knew, quote, how to fix this shit. Ooh. Perry added that he, quote, loves killing a MFer in a show that no one expects, end quote. So Derek Dixon's lawsuit is insinuating that Tyler Perry retaliates against. Sidebar. So Derek Dixon's lawsuit is alleging that Tyler Perry retaliates against actors who don't reciprocate his advances. Serious question. Have any of your favorite actors just suddenly disappeared from a Tyler Perry show? I'm not a big fan. Which Dixon understood to mean that unless the actors knew they were going to die and that their time on the show was over, they wouldn't change their ways. Perry was going to film the shootout early so that the actors would be more submissive to Perry's request. Perry intentionally made these comments to instill fear in Dixon. Mr. Dixon now knew that he too would lose his job if Dixon did not quote unquote, play ball with Perry's harassment. Perry would also share intimate details of his own personal life with Dixon, among other things. Perry would tell Dixon that he had not had good relations since he had become rich, and that there were certain times where he had not been touched, quote unquote, in months. On the second to last day of shooting for The Oval, Dixon filmed the episode where his character was shot 4 times. Indicating a seeming end to his role on the show and his termination from the job. It was precisely following this day. It was precisely following this day of filming when Tyler Perry knew that Dixon's character's fate was to be decided that Perry invited Dixon to his trailer for drinks. Dixon knew that refusing meant the end of his career, so he accepted. It was there, on the very same day, that Perry dialed up the harassment to a new level. Tyler Perry asked Derek Dixon point blank, "Are you attracted to me?" and demanded that Dixon answer. Plaintiff reiterated the same way he did after the first assault, by skirting the question. Dixon told Perry that Dixon, quote, wasn't that provocative or looking for anything. Perry's incessant probing did not stop. Sidebar, remember? And some of these words were filling in the blank to keep it appropriate. Perry continued to talk about how, quote, good looking and sexy Dixon was, and that plaintiff was wasting his looks by not being free and having relations. Dixon repeatedly deflected these comments with neutral answers, constantly looking for ways to avoid Tyler Perry's inappropriate interrogation, while continuing to worry about his future on the Oval. Mr. Perry was testing how far he could go with Dixon. After ending the harassment and doing his best to dodge the question, Mr. Dixon got up and the two exchanged goodbyes. As Dixon was leaving Perry's trailer, Perry got up and pinned Dixon against the wall. Perry began aggressively groping Dixon's buttocks in an aggressive motion. Tyler Perry began reaching down towards Dixon's buttocks and groped Dixon's butt in a strong, aggressive manner. At that point, he once again aggressively seized Dixon and groped his buttocks. Dixon once again did not reciprocate and froze up. Perry got the message and told Dixon to go to bed. Dixon was terrified and could barely sleep. Sidebar, I thought he was leaving. How did he end up going to bed? From that moment on, Perry became extremely frustrated and possessive. Perry wanted desperately for Dixon to be attracted to him, but Dixon was not. In one exchange, Perry sent pictures of himself from the Bahamas to Dixon. Dixon responded that the water looked nice. Perry got upset that Dixon did not see the quote-unquote stud in the picture and instead focused on the water. Perry called Dixon an a-hole for laughing out loud at Perry's desire for Dixon to call him a stud. And there you can see the alleged text message with the photos included from Derek Dixon's phone from Tyler Perry. This is an explosive lawsuit with revelations that don't surprise many. We will keep our good eye on Tyler Perry and this whole Derek Dixon situation because it's not going away. Unlike the other alleged victims in the past who were able to be paid off and just go away, Derek Dixon seems that he's going to fight this in court, and he's taking it to the court of public opinion as well. I would like to note this lawsuit was filed one day after Tyler Perry, again, who was having a hell of a news week, was spotted with Mariah Carey's ex-boyfriend, Brian, and the internet exploded pretty much. This lawsuit was filed the day after those photos were viral. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you. Come back and see me sometime. Take care. Bye.